I've been playing video games for a long time, and there's this one type of game I've avoided all my life. Realistic sports. And there's also these other games I haven't tried until recently-ish. Fighting games. Now, if you know anything about fighting games, then you probably know they're really hard to get into. They're not the type of game people just pick up and play. They're more like the type of game people put down and walk away from. Which is not something you could tell just by looking at one. I mean, they look like they'd be pretty easy to get into. You beat up people and that's about it. The only other thing going on here is one guy stands on the right side of the screen and another guy stands on the left. Then you fight. But when I finally got around to playing one of these games, that's when I realized this was not going to be easy. At all. Like, even moving my guy around was hard. Just getting next to the other character's face so I could try and punch it was tough. And blocking that punch took at least an hour before I even knew you could block. But I was kind of getting it, I was slowly figuring it out. It wasn't that bad. The thing that was really bugging me though was trying to shoot one of those fireballs. Shouldn't be anything special, just a good old fireball. Classic video game thing. I mean, I can't remember when throwing a fireball was much harder than pushing the B button. You push B, there's your fireball, that's it, you're done. But over in crazy fighting game land, it took me hours just to have a 50-50 chance of doing this. Now, if you want to do this too, you're gonna need patience, a degree in deciphering cryptic runes, and probably a calming beverage. Like a cup of Earl Grey. Now here's the incantation to cast fireballs. They expect us to memorize this. This Hadouken. Speaking as a casual, or as I like to put it, a non-fighting gamer, I gotta ask, how's anyone supposed to figure this out? I mean, I did, somehow. After several hours, with help from a friend. But let's forget about all that and just look at this objectively for a second here, right? This is the instruction book. This is how to do stuff. And one of the first things we see is a red orb, possibly a planet. And it launched a satellite in a counterclockwise orbit from the South Pole. Yeah. No. Maybe? And also there's a D-pad icon. And a fist. So... Am I supposed to punch the D-pad with my fist? No, actually, it turns out this foreboding red planet is supposed to be a fighting game joystick. Which I am not going to get into, that's a whole different topic. Anyway, this red planet is trying to show you how to move your character. It's not doing a very good job, but that's what it's trying to do. And the D-pad icon isn't actually a D-pad icon, it's supposed to be a plus sign. So like you add this movement to this fist. And the fist means you gotta push the punch button. Now, where is the punch button? Some reasonable person might ask. Well, I don't know. The game doesn't tell us here. Anyway, once you figure out what all this means, then you can try and do it yourself. Okay, step 1, make Ryu crouch down. Then keep holding down and also press forwards. Next, let go of down, but keep holding forwards. And also punch. And that, everybody, is how you shoot a fireball. Oh, and you need to push everything in a fraction of a second to make it work. And that's only for shooting fireballs. If you want to do the helicopter kick or the twirly-whirly uppercut, then you gotta learn different inputs. And that's just for one character. A different one could have totally different inputs to figure out, like Dudley over here. You gotta do this to do his Thunderbolt. Or if you want to do Mr. Bison's crazy slide attack, well, that's just hold down and kick. But this move, that involves doing this. And then there's this character who's got lots of moves. Like this one, and this one, that one, and don't forget this attack, this one too, and this, that, and also this, and don't forget about this one, this, that, this, and that. You see my problem? This is way too confusing. Sure, for fighting game pros, this probably isn't a big deal. But for a non-fighter like me, I don't even know where to start. I mean, I guess I could start with how how pushing these buttons was so awful it gave me finger pain. Yeah, they caused me and my friends literal pain and suffering. Now, maybe I get carried away and used too much force, but what am I supposed to do? There's a guy over there trying to kill me. I can't help it if my fingers react violently. It just happens, okay? You know, my body tells my hands I'm in danger, so when I'm trying to do one of those special moves, I mash my thumb into the plastic as fast as I can. I slide it this way and that way and try again because it didn't work that time, and before I realize what's happening, thumb pain. Deep, sore, twisted pain. Oh, right in the joint. Ugh. God, my thumbs are starting to hurt just thinking about it. I mean, what kind of a madman comes up with controls like these anyway? On first glance, it looks like it'd win awards for the most unintuitive control scheme ever. On second glance, it looks like gamified torture. On third glance, I think I get it. Fighting games hate people. They hate them. They hate us. Why else would they go out of the way to make controlling a character so difficult? Why isn't it more like Smash Brothers? Why are so many of the main menus repulsive to my eyes? Because fighting games came from a different planet called the arcade. And yeah, that's where a ton of games came from, true. But most games moved past the arcade a long time ago. We all know this, right? You know, sure, back in prehistory when Mario and whatever else was in the arcade, back when those games branched off to do their own thing on home consoles, you know, fighting games pretty much stayed put. They lived isolated in those dank dark arcades for so long that they're practically a different species of video games now. They're this weird primal thing that have had to deal with completely different environmental pressures. So when you think about it, it makes sense why they don't meet our modern expectations. It's because those expectations don't exist where they came from. And that brings up a question. Why? Why would a non-fighting gamer put up with all this? That's what I asked myself. And I thought, yeah, why am I doing this? So I quit. I get it. They aren't for me. I moved on. As a non-fighting gamer, I saw the appeal for hardcore fighty people. Didn't play one for over a year, maybe 2. I doubt I would have ever bought another one myself, but then as GOG.com and Amazon.com would have it, they gave away a bunch of old fighting games. And I was like, well, might as well try them out. And they were okay. Every now and then my friends and I would play one of them for 20 minutes, then our thumbs would hurt, so we stopped and did something else. But after a while, we realized something very interesting. Now don't tell anyone I said this, but we realized that fighting games are hilarious. Let me say that again. Fighting games are goofy, silly games, and I had no idea. All this time I thought they were supposed to be serious. Like Pro Gamer Major League Esports serious. But it turns out they're right up there with funny games like Resident Evil 1.
It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Now, fighting games don't have those high highs where you're propelled out of your chair by the sheer brilliance of the dialogue.
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
But overall, I'd say they're more consistently funny. Like, the way the characters animate is often pretty goofy. The words that pop up after they win is weird. And the voice acting is incredible. Like, take this guy as an example. He's a big muscle dude with a scary evil little cape. And his name is Grant. Everything about this man exudes evilness. And for one of his most devastating attacks, he shouts, "Monkey!" Monkey. Or maybe his best move was, "Here's your birthday." Not sure which one is better, but they're definitely powerful. Or what about Mr. Monkey's rival, Birdman? Now, I'm not going to pretend I know what he's saying, but my best translation is, "Holy smokes, cola." Probably a sponsorship deal. Maybe this doesn't do it for you, but this completely changed fighting games for me. They used to just be games where I tried to beat up my friends, but now they're games where my friends kill me whenever I use the power of Darth Vader. Seriously, if you aren't into fighting games but you'd like to see what some of the hubbub is about, you gotta try and laugh at them. Laugh with them. But mostly at them, in a friendly way though. Because while I kinda doubt the person who voiced these lines meant for it to come out that way, I love her for it. And she says Psycho Soda. Just had to mention that. And also, this guy commonly says ba-boom whenever he beats this guy. Time for tea. Or how about a move called Lightning Turkey? I know, it might sound kind of lame, it's serious gibberish. But damn, does it feel good to take out a friend with Lightning Turkey. Or even better, the I want pizza attack. Or maybe it's hasta la vista. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell when the music is on. It drowns out everything. Makes me think I hear all sorts of strange words. Like, sometimes it sounds like the announcer in Guilty Gear says, "Hell yeah," when he's supposed to say, "Hellfire." Or every now and then when I win, he calls it an obnoxious win. Ha, not funny, dude. Okay, can you hear me? Right. Well, I have a smallish thing I should probably mention. I don't usually listen to fighting game music when I'm fighting. I turn it off. I've tried not to. I've tried. It's just, it all sounds so whatever. Like, there's nothing wrong with the music I've heard. At worst, it sounds perfectly fine. It's just, when I listen to one of these games for more than 30 minutes, that's when it starts to get to me. Guilty Gear is like, rock, 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 rock. And Third Strike is like, hippity hop, hip, hip, hippity hop. Oh, I like that one. Oh, yeah. Now, this is a good soundtrack. But besides Third Strike, most fighting game music is forgettable, yeah. I mean, I was kind of liking Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2's music at first. I was kind of liking it.
Kinda liking it.
That's the sound of me passing out, by the way. The only thing I hear after a while is random background static. A buzz from the void. Now, if there's any fighting gamers listening to this right now, I'm sorry. I'm sure you love the music of insert your favorite fighting game here. And I respect that, but I'm a non-fighting gamer. And if you're a non-fighting gamer, then you're probably used to some games with real quality music. Like, you're walking along a brick road, everything is awesome, you're on a roll, nothing can stop you, until this jerk shows up. Or how about a cute game with a soundtrack full of cute, wonderful music? Or, you know, Shadow of the Colossus. Obviously, fighting games don't need to sound this good, but they should just do what Smash Bros. Does and have a bazillion songs already. Then I think I'd be satisfied. So, for me anyway, there's only one solution to this problem. You gotta turn off the in-game music and play some custom beats. Ridiculous music, overdramatic music, funk, jazz, house, hip-hop, whatever you want. As long as it makes you want to kill somebody, that's what you should listen to. Sometimes it gets me so excited that I want to jump up and dance, or make a guttural scream of joy. And when you stick those feelings in a fighting game, everything naturally gets more exciting. Because you can't just jump around and dance and scream, then you'd get killed. What you gotta do is bottle up all that primal energy and shoot it through your fingertips with a big laser beam. It's safe to do a little dance after you win, though. Seriously, custom music flat out makes fighting games better, 100%. It enhances everything. Sometimes it makes things feel as intense as the most intense boss fights in any game out there. I mean, just a few more hits and you could win. Or you could lose. It depends on who hits who. But that's the thing. Who hits who? That's what these games are all about. Nothing else. There's no stage hazards that'll randomly mess you up. No stage hazards in good fighting games anyway. There's no quick time events that let you automatically win. It's just you and the other guy. Nothing gets in the way of that. Except your fingers, and input lag, and TV lag, and in-game lag, and internet lag. Fighting games can just be so tense. They're like little tension-making machines, pulling my nerves tighter and tighter till it feels like they're gonna fray. Then the game's over, some tension is released, and it's time for another round. And another round, and another round, and another round, and another round, and another round. Anyway, once I figured out that fighting games are secretly a comedy routine and decided to play some random music, I started to have fun. Like, constantly. I felt like I figured out how a non-fighting gamer could enjoy fighting games.
Round one.
And for my friends and I, anyway, we did. But there was an unexpected side effect from playing so much. We developed a shaky grasp of the controls. Like, one day I realized I'm moving around and shooting fireballs almost whenever I wanted to. If I wanted to walk over to somebody's face and punch them, I did that. More or less. And just a couple months ago, I started to be able to do super moves without button mashing. And, turns out knowing how to play the games you play makes them really fun. Yeah, who would have thought? Now, I still don't really know what I'm doing. Just a refresher, this is what the controls look like. But now I know why they look like this. I mean, I knew back when I first started playing, but I understand now. It's because you can do a fast punch, an elbow punch, a big punch, a twirly-whirly punch, a jab punch, a karate chop punch, a super deadly punch, and probably a bunch of other punches that I forgot about. And you can do all these whenever you want. All you gotta do is press the correct buttons or combination of buttons or directional inputs, and you've got it. And that's just for punching. There's also kicks, special moves, super special moves, air attacks, grabs, and at least 2 ways to block. A couple of these games sneak in 3. And of course, depending on if you blink 5 times in a row on a Tuesday afternoon, then you'll torpedo out of the sky and kill somebody. So basically, fighting games have finger mangling controls because if you had to map every action to a specific button, there wouldn't be enough buttons in the universe. Which is just not something you see other games do. Not even a little. Normal games keep their controls basically as simple as possible. You know, usually it's like one button does one thing. The A button makes Slug Cat jump, circle is for interacting with things, and R equals stabby stab stab. Maybe the button behind that one does the big stab. And then there's games like Batman, where stabbing people is about as simple as it gets. All you gotta do to punch and kick people to death here is tap 1, maybe 2 buttons, and Batman goes nuts. Look at him, go, wow, go Batman, go. And in one way this is a little bit, simple, I guess, which is fine, but fighting games wouldn't let you get away with this. No siree, I'm sure you know what happens when you try. If you wanted to look like Batman in fighting games, then your fingers would need to move around faster than he does. You'd need to think about what's going on, pay attention to your positioning, and sometimes stop attacking and block. Because everything you do, the buttons you press, the buttons you don't press because you're picking your nose, it all matters. Every single action counts. Plenty of games might make you feel like Batman, but in fighting games, you are Batman. Whether you're able to take out the first bad guy or not, doesn't really matter. Damn, Batman. Of course, I'm not saying fighting games have better controls than normal games do, but I'm also not saying they're worse. I'm just saying I get it now. They're super complicated and it's different. It has its ups and downs. Upside is, my God, I'll never get bored of this, huh? Downside is, my God, I'll never figure this out, huh? I mean, these characters can do so much stuff. How is anyone supposed to remember it all? My favorite characters, yeah, no biggie. But all of them might not happen. Besides, I don't even want to remember. And that might have to do with a friend who threatens to quit if I learn anything too fancy. So I'm more than happy to just play it by feel. I feel like this guy has a big attack. Although, for fighting gamers, they kinda need to know all this stuff, or they'll live in constant fear of being bamboozled by shenanigans. But I like shenanigans. Mix things up, keep it interesting, never know what's gonna happen. I mean, heck, I don't even know some of the moves from my most used characters. Like Kay, suddenly doing this slidey thing. Or Muscle Guy Grant doing the here's your birthday. Or out of the blue, I'll discover entirely new gameplay mechanics. I'm serious. Just a couple weeks ago I found out you can do super jumps in Guilty Gear. What's it good for? No idea, but it exists. And a while before that I accidentally pressed the left shoulder button when I was playing Mark of the Wolves, and that button actually gives every character 2 more attacks. If I was trying to get good and win, this would be a nightmare. There's just so much to learn here. It's insane. It feels like I could keep playing forever and still learn new tricks once in a while. Just playing and having good times. So yeah, fighting games are starting to sound pretty fun, right? Well, there's one thing that might be a problem. Literally everything about them breaks down if you don't have a friend. Literally everything. That was part of the deal. Yeah, you need a fighting buddy. It's essential. You can both get annoyed when someone can't throw fireballs all of a sudden. Trust me, it happens. You can laugh when the music dramatically ends the second the match is over. You can kick each other in the shin. Or do whatever it is you and your friends do. You can go through the pain, the struggle, beat each other up till your fingers hurt for all I care. Really, I can't recommend fighting games if you have to play them by yourself. They weren't meant for that. They were meant to be played with other people. We're what makes them worth playing. 2 people duking it out, and the finishing blow is a lightning turkey. Sounds fun to me.